Hey everyone, I'm Mayer Cunningham, special education boss, and Parenting Special Needs Magazine has asked me to speak about ages and stages. So let's get started. So the first question is, when families have concerns that their child isn't receiving the IEP services outlined, such as speech therapy or classroom supports, they're often advised to first contact the teacher and then escalate to the case manager or the special education director if needed. From your experience, what communication strategies or documentation approaches help families navigate this process most effectively, especially when they're met with delays or a vague response? This is a really good question. So I don't escalate things when I believe that the IEP is not being implemented with fidelity as codified as what we signed off on and legally agreed upon at the annual IEP meeting. Then I'm going to call an IEP meeting. And almost always that IEP team can address my concerns. And so when you go to just one person, when you go to the special ed teacher or the director, you're just sort of talking to one person and it turns into the game of telephone. So I'm going to call a review IEP meeting. You want to say that we are requesting a review IEP meeting to look at my child's progress. Please provide us 3 dates and times to choose from. We look forward to working together to resolve any concerns. And then when you get to that meeting, talk about your concerns and ask them, how are you implementing speech therapy? How is speech therapy going? Are the minutes that we agreed upon working? Is the frequency and duration and location successful for him? Ask them questions about their implementing instead of saying, I don't think you're doing it right. And so if you ask the right questions, you're going to get better responses. And then based upon what you're feeling is not accurate or not happening, then share that. I don't see as evidenced by the outcomes that you're sharing, right? So you're saying that he's making these gains in speech therapy with XYZ, but that's not parlaying home, and we're not seeing those gains. So just address them. We don't need to escalate it. Now, certainly you get to places in an IEP meeting where the IEP team is not successfully collaborating together or communicating together. And then we ask about different options. And so certainly if I am unsuccessful at the IEP table, I might reach out to the special education director for an assist that she can come back into the next meeting when we reconvene to address these issues to help better support the team. I hope that's helpful. And listen, if you have any questions, just let us know. All right. The next question is, parents are legally entitled to services outlined in their child's IEP, but when those services aren't delivered as planned, what specific rights do parents have and what should they do? What should they be aware of when pushing for compliance? So it's not about pushing for compliance. It's about the expectation for the team to deliver the services. So I think so many of us get locked into compliance and are we checkboxing. We are obligated to write an IEP that enables the child to make progress appropriate in light of their circumstances. And so if we believe the services aren't being delivered, we have to quantify that, right? And sometimes what we're really saying is he's not making progress. And so when he's not making progress, it doesn't mean the services weren't delivered. We pivot. And so it's really important and paramount that you get those IEP progress reports that come home each grading period, either every 6 or 9 weeks. And then we hold that up to what the IEP progress is supposed to be. And is that matching, right? So if we had said Billy is going to, increase his WCPMs, his words correct per minute, by these many words in a grading period, and that didn't happen, or that percentage, then we reconvene the IEP team and say we need to write more IEPs that are appropriate for him, right? Because when we write an IEP, it's our best informed guess, and sometimes we have to pivot. And we also want to make sure that we're making services that are appropriate for the child. Sometimes I get an IEP for a student and there's too many services, right? So just service doesn't necessarily mean a child makes gains. I want to deliver the service and then work on generalization, maintenance, and fluency so that there's acquisition of that skill. I hope this was helpful.